everyone. This is Beth.
This is Seth.
From Seth Beth Wedding Photography. I'm super excited right now because...
You sound it.
I know, I'm really excited. Usually I come up with podcast ideas and then I tell Seth like what we're going to be talking about, but he's got an idea.
We recently did, let me set the tone here. You ready? We just released an episode I would say just before Christmas, we released a little promotional video where I made my mother a wedding album of her wedding photos from 40 years ago.
That was good stuff, man.
That was good stuff. I found her wedding photos, and I thought, what could I do with these? Photos are very important to us, and albums are very important to us, and cherishing them in print form is important to us.
Yeah.
So the funny part about this one was I took old photos. My folks got married in 1978. Their wedding photographer did not show up, so their uncle took photos, obviously film, and they're phenomenal. They basically cover a majority of the day, and they're just phenomenal. And so I found the photos, and I went through the process of scanning them individually and using Fundy software to build a new album for my mother. And I printed them through Blacksmith Printing Company, our amazing friend Brady at Blacksmith, and handed it to Mom on Christmas, and it brought the house down. She didn't even remember these photos really existed, probably hadn't looked at them in a long time. And my sister, I don't know if my sister had ever seen them either.
Right.
And so...
I didn't see them.
Yeah, it was a gorgeous, gorgeous book. And recently, your parents found their wedding album.
Right.
We sat around the table and talked about all the photos.
Right.
We have since learned that a buddy of mine that I reconnected with after 20 years, his dad was one of your father's groomsmen.
Isn't it? And it was so wild the way we found out too. It was like I was telling my mom and dad, "Oh, we got cocktails last night with Andrew Striegel," and she was like, "Bob, I think this is Jerry Strigel's boy." I was like, "Mom, come on, his name's Andrew Striegel." She's like, "Right. Jerry Strigel's boy is the same age." And I was like, listen, Andrew's dad's name is Jerome. She's like, right, Jerry. Jerome, Striegel.
So we called Andrew right then and there, and it's like, we just had this funny conversation with your folks there. Like, your dad was in my dad's wedding, and we never knew it. So, but
I joke with him that he's my brother now.
That's why you're saying that. I forgot about that. But I wanted to ask you, I think one of the first things that comes up when people start asking us, oh, wait, you're a photographer. Because I have a PhD, you were a teacher for 15 years. So when people say, when we tell people we're photographers, well, how? And so we had a baby, or we were going to have a baby in 2010. His name is Geo, Geo, the only one. He has his own podcast because we love doing this. He's very animated. Geo's World Podcast. If you're so inclined, you got to check out YouTube or Geo's World Podcast, where a 9-year-old spills his guts about life, Hamilton, baseball, basketball.
He said the other day to me, life is so hard.
Life is hard.
Life is hard.
So we bought a camera. We started taking photos. And then we started taking photos of other people's kids. And people started calling. And the next, someone told us we were doing their wedding, which was hilarious. And that was like 200 weddings ago. So my main question is, since that time that we bought the camera till today, it's been a decade. What has these photos done in your life, Beth?
Like the photos I took for other people?
No, both. The ones we own and the ones we've taken.
This really hit home today. So we had the opportunity to photograph somebody that I used to babysit for as a little girl, and we photographed her wedding as a grown woman, and her family is a part of Seth and I's family, like we grew up together. So like her grandpa, I used to like go over to his house, and her uncle graduated with me, and our mom and dad, like we're good friends, lifelong friends. And we got the text yesterday that her grandpa died. So she just got married weeks ago. So I immediately was like, I thought this too. I know. I was really hoping, because sometimes if we take family photos, we take a picture of grandma and grandpa together, or even sometimes like one-on-one. And I was like, gosh, I hope we took that picture. And then I started going through the whole gallery am pulling out pictures of her grandpa, and oh my gosh, Seth,
So many.
some really great moments. You know why? Is because we take the time to learn about the clients. So I knew who her grandpa was, right?
Yeah.
So I know when her grandpa's on the dance floor, I better take a photo of that.
There are
When
so many
grandma
dance floor
and
photos.
grandpa are dancing together, I took a photo of that. When grandpa, and all day I'm looking for those moments. I'm
Sure.
looking for those interactions. So we have some really awesome photos, and that means so much to me.
We try not to be morbid, but we explain to folks, like, we've gone through this. I
Yeah.
lost a parent after our wedding. So now, like, literally the 4 photos I have of my dad, like, that's kind of it. I think right when about the time we were getting married was like coming into the digital age.
Yes.
And so actually printing was still in.
Yeah.
But digital just sounded so cool. You could take so many photos.
Because social media was
Not-
it was
I don't
just
even
getting
think-
in as
it's like
well.
MySpace. But now I've heard both things. Digital is absolutely taking over. I've got over 5,000 photos on my phone, and I don't even take photos on like, some people are nuts about taking
Yeah.
photos. Like, I have 5,000 on my phone, and I don't even take any.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how many. And so we try to stress to people the importance of an album, and that we certainly know that building and buying an album after your wedding is costly, like an entire wedding.
Yeah. She wasn't expecting her grandpa to die. He died unexpectedly.
Oh, he was doing the Watusi at the wedding just 3
weeks
months ago.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it all happened really fast. It's not like he was unhealthy or we didn't know. It wasn't like that.
So we have some amazing photos of him, like, dancing with his kids and dancing with the bride and dancing with his wife of how many, 60 years or
Yeah.
50 years. And so we got the news last night that he passed away, and it's just
So it really means a lot to me to know that, like, we took the photos.
yeah.
We, and I know it sounds like, you're the photographer, aren't you supposed to take the photos? But, like, sometimes people just don't work hard enough, and they don't take those photos.
I mean, we didn't used to work hard enough, which was true too, I think.
Yeah.
I think when I tell people all the time, when we first started, I thought that taking 3,000 photos at a wedding was, like, really high up there. And I heard the people that were taking 10 to 12,000.
Like, how?
I said, that's not possible.
How do you even
Taking
take
10
that
to
many?
12,000. And at this point now, I don't see how we can take any less than 10,000.
I don't know. We're only going to take more because I see more moments. I capture more moments. I look for the moments. I put myself in this situation to make sure that I am getting I know I'm working so much harder now than I did when we first started photographing weddings.
And I think it's also a smarter work. I wouldn't say it's more physical.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely are climbing trees still, laying on our backs. I go down on a knee. In fact, if the camera can see, like, I have a worn knee spot on my right knee, which is hurting me.
I have a callus on my knee.
I know, I do too.
Like how, like, people get calluses, like I have on.
Well,
from,
listen,
like,
we shouldn't
weights.
complain. Yes, because, like, construction workers, their hands are all busted open, and we have, like, one callus on our knee. But
I'm just saying, like, that's
I know
because I'm working.
It's working, and so we take. But where am I going? We're shifting this back to us. What has photography?
I just can't be a model anymore now. That's what
I know. Well, yeah, those days have passed for me as well. What about photos of us, our children? What has that meant to you?
Oh, I was just thinking about this too. Like, I didn't tell you this, but okay. So Seth and I had been planning on going to Acadia National Park with some of our best friends. We like going on vacations with them. We travel nice together, but we're not doing that this year. So my sister's moving to Denver, Colorado, and I was like, oh, well, we should definitely go visit her. There's, I think, 4 national parks in Colorado. Mm-hmm. One is just like an hour and change from her new house. And then there's 3 other ones. And as I'm doing the research on traveling to these places, I'm already envisioning, like, what we're going to do there with our family, the photos that we're going to take, and the memories that we're going to create. And I get so excited. I know this. I just get so excited to take these pictures and to capture these moments and to have those. Seth and I have this huge, how big is that? Like a 16 by 20 scrolling frame. It's not like one of those little digital frames, but it's a It's literally this big.
30 by 40. It's huge.
It's so big. And we have it up and we put thousands of photos of our family on it. It just scrolls through and it scrolls through. And I already am picturing our family at these national parks doing these awesome things. And I'm so excited. I'm so completely excited. That's what I was doing last night when you were turning all the lights off and you're like, come on, Lenny, say goodnight to Mom. She's just going to be down here by herself. That's what I was doing. I was just smiling, thinking about how great a trip we're going to have.
Well, I started the podcast talking about how I got my mother an album. And for this Christmas, we tried to one-up that is we found hundreds of old photos of your family.
Yeah.
And a friend of ours, a neighbor of ours, had this great idea for our 50th wedding anniversary to scan a bunch of these old photos. And she asked me to make a slideshow. It ended up becoming a very big...
It was really cute of you. She didn't ask. You volunteered. It was really nice of you.
Yeah, so, and they actually got me a cute gift card to my favorite butcher shop around here, which I blew instantly on brisket, pork shoulder, and coffee. But anyway, so they did a slideshow of these amazing old photos, and it really inspired me. I ended up thanking her, giving me the idea of well, this is great. So it took a lot of time and effort on our part, but Beth and I went through hundreds and hundreds of images, stacks and stacks of old dusty images, and scanned in about 600 of them. And on Christmas Eve, when Beth's family opens up gifts, is we fired up like we do for reveal sessions, the full movie theater. We brought the
movie screen.
The movie screen.
A real movie screen.
And a projector. Well, not a real movie, but I mean...
it was a real movie screen.
Oh, it's a movie screen and a projector.
We're not a rave movie theater.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we're not like AMC. But and we put on the beautiful music, and everyone sat stadium style and watched this for a full hour. And we just laughed and reminisced about all the photos, the way we looked in the 80s and 90s. How Beth has not changed her look since...
Photos of my mom and dad as little ones, my grandma and grandpa as little ones, and my sisters hadn't seen some of those photos.
Yeah, and so, but I had an awakening in that by seeing pictures of your folks who are 65, 67 years old, I feel like they're the first generation. The baby boomers might be the first generation where they have photos from baby to death. I think it's very rare for our grandparents to have photos of them as children.
Yeah.
And photos obviously, our great grandparents, photos weren't a thing or hardly around.
Yeah, you have one.
But we have placed such an incredible emphasis on print because I think I educate clients on this. We're in this dangerous time where I think so many people think that taking photos with their phone is good enough that I just feel like 20 years from now, we're going to have a massive depletion of people, a massive amount of people who don't have any photos of themselves. We've almost gone backwards. It's by not taking the time of taking photos, having family sessions, senior photos, I guess there's some sort of strange negative connotation at times by some folks. They're just what's the point and all this. And I'm envisioning these memory tables 20 years from now with not a lot of photos on them. It kind of saddens me a bit. I've shared this with you a zillion times over, but we go out of our way to take a bunch of photos. We have family sessions. We have a family video made by Luke at ALC Productions in Columbus, which is wonderful. I guess you could call it self-promoting because I want to take your photos, but I love them. But it is amazing, all too often, in terms of a professional photo, it's people get baby photos, and then we get them at their senior photos, and then we photograph their wedding, and that's kind of it.
Yeah. And
so we put an enormous emphasis on engagement photos as well. I'm really sad because 80%, 90% of the photographers out there, they throw them in. They throw in engagement sessions. We hear this on our phone calls when we talk to potential clients. Well, this photographer's just going to give it to us. And I said, well, it's very hard to value free things. And so, plus when they give you that, they're probably not giving you prints. And so inevitably, we found too many times that digital photos stay in the digital form for too long.
Right.
They can't be cherished. They can't be loved. And they're not really giving you anything. It's sort of I just feel like when photos aren't printed at times, it's just kind of I don't know, I just feel like I'm wasting my time even editing them. I don't even know why we're doing this. We're going to look at them a couple times on a phone. And I don't mean to get all negative Nancy about it, but what we have done and our clients have really, really been drawn to is the idea of printing photos. And boy, oh boy, I mean, when we offer wall art and we offer connection session albums and fine art prints, inevitably, and we have these reveal sessions and design consultations, they're just joyous events where people celebrate their photos, and then we go and put them up in their home on the wall, and then people come over to the house and they see the photos, and you just do the exact opposite.
It becomes one of the most loved things in the whole house.
Yeah, that was one of our clients. We bought our home from people who are definitely well off. They have their own business, and they've done really well for years and years, and they bought this big, gorgeous, amazing, beautiful home. And I put up this enormous wall art collection in their house, and she now says this is the coolest thing they own.
Yeah.
They got it all. There's nothing they can't have. They got money, they got cars, they got a mansion, they got a lake, they got beautiful children, and this is the coolest thing they have. And it was just a great investment, and it brought the house down. I have footage of, we like to share footage of all of our clients during the reveal sessions and really them enjoying their photos. So
I know, like, for them specifically, you know, like, all families have hard times. Like, you know, even Seth and I have hard times, you know, like, life is hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard to have a family and everything. And just having for them that collection of photos of their own family love on those hard days, it's important to look at and be like, dang, today stinks, but we always have each other. Mm-hmm. Like, even though this moment right now, like, is the pits, and I love you, but maybe I don't like you at this moment, like, it's just a reminder that we're going to get through this. It's going to be okay. That's just right now. Mm-hmm. So without putting those photos up there and just putting, like, a cute, like, Pier 1, you know, something
stuff in the background.
Like, this isn't a representation of our love. That's just cool stuff. So, like, that's why printing photos is super, super important. And then putting them up.
Yeah, you know.
That's what that photo frame is for me. You know, like, I could sit there. And because what Seth and I, like, we just have so many awesome photos. We do.
Yeah,
we're very blessed. I mean, everyone does. But, like, for us, like, there's just so many photos. I wanted to put everything up. We got one of these huge scrolly frames. And I know, like, especially for the kids, I made sure that timeout was right in front of the scrolly frame. So they are reminded, like, it's okay. Like, look at my mom and I here. She still loves me. Look at my family here. Like, we do love each other, even though I'm in timeout and my mom is disappointed in my actions.
Yeah, so we put our kids in timeout in front of the scrolling frame so they can see that they're still loved.
They are.
Yeah, for me, the photos have just been incredible. I also do video. So I take videos of family vacations and splice them into, like, beautiful, like, 3-minute little video montages.
I showed Gabe that video that you made from California.
Yeah.
Gabe is our nephew. We took our nephew with us to California, and Seth put it together. And, I mean, he was really, really stoked about it.
Yeah, I mean, not only did he look a lot different because it was, like, a couple years ago, but he jumped off a 35-foot cliff into what lake is that again?
Havasu.
Lake Havasu, yeah. So, anyway, so I'm constantly doing some editing in the background for videos. We do a family trip every year with some deer.
What about you, babe? What do these photos mean?
Well, you know, I meant to say that, you know, like, I'm not much of a hiker, but one of the things we did last year is we went to Utah. I'm not a hiker at all. Who am I kidding? I don't like walking anywhere. And for some reason, I don't know why, I heard that Angel's Landing was one of the most challenging hikes in the country.
This is still one of the coolest things you've ever done.
Yeah, so I mean, I never hiked anywhere. I would consider myself pretty much out of shape. I mean, I play basketball and tennis a couple times a week, so maybe not completely out of shape. But, like, going on a hike to me just doesn't seem very, like, walking, you know.
Yeah, you're just gonna walk.
I don't like walking. My mind runs too fast. I can't slow it down. But at Angel's Landing, I saw these scary YouTube videos about how crazy it was. And so I don't know why. It was just like one day we were there at Zion, and I was like, well, I'm going to go walk this. I don't know much about it, but I'm going to go hike this. And I heard there's some big cliffs.
It was more than that, though, honey. I was
yeah, it's not a walk at all.
I said the hike is like hours, and it's very strenuous. It's one of the top 10. I was like, Are you sure? And you're like, yeah, I think I have to leave at like 6 o'clock in the morning. I was like, well, when are you going to be done? You're like, later in the afternoon.
Yeah,
I was
so
like, this is crazy.
and so on the way up, there were definitely times where I had to stop and like literally lay on my back and gasp for air. And then I got up and kept going. And there's also a point where you have to grab chains and basically like kind of hang off the side of a cliff because it's like at a parallel, not parallel, it's like a 45-degree angle.
I still can't believe you did this stuff.
So you have to kind of grab chains and get your feet in the rocks to get all the way up top. It culminates in like there's basically like a 3-foot strip of rock that goes from maybe 10 feet of length that you have to walk, and there's a chain on one side, but on one side it literally drops about at least 2,000 feet just to the basin.
People have died on this?
Yeah, people have died on this. I think they said 7 or 8 people have died in the last 20 years, maybe, or something. And on the right side, it drops off about 1,000 foot. If you look up Angel's Landing, it's pretty challenging. I guess the more people I talk to, is they don't make it all the way up to the top. I made it to the top. It was very
twice. You did it twice.
Yeah, so I did it one day, and the next day I said, "Well, I'm going to do it again." Gio, at the time, was 8. I said, "Do you want to go with me?" And he said, "Yes." And sure enough, he made it. Didn't complain. He made it. Other people were stopping. They couldn't really understand how there was a child going through there. And maybe it was a little too dangerous, but we both made it, and we took some beautiful photos at the top, you know. And those I'll cherish for a long, long time. I mean,
you know, he just loves you so much, and he loves, like, experiencing, like awesome, fulfilling things like that. So for him, it was like, I'm doing this with my dad. We're going to forever say that we're going to do this. Like, I knew, like, and he loves that adventure. Like, Dad and I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we're going to take a bus over to and then like that, he loves adventure like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know what it's like to hike something like that, but he's going to do it with you, and he's not going to complain because that's the adventure of it, and he's never going to give up.
So I want to do Half Dome in Yosemite, and I don't know if he's too young. Probably. We'll see. It's incredibly challenging. We did half the hike to Half Dome, and it was insane. I wasn't really ready for it. So
yeah.
But if we did get ready for it, I mean, I know a lot more people die on Half Dome, and but I got to do that, and maybe I'll wait till he's 12 or something. Or
yeah, you know, and he's been doing some research on that as well, and he has said, like, because I said, like, hey, maybe we'll go to Yosemite next year, and he immediately was like, I have to start training. We're gonna do Half Dome.
I've heard there's training for Half Dome, and I don't know if he's 10. If his 10 would be,
I know. I guess I'd like him to get like a little stronger.
So the gist of it is, you climb up the backside of Half Dome, which is not only steep but rounded, and there's a set of like little like wood that's like as your stairs with chains on either side, and apparently if you slip off the side, you're just done. You just go and it's over. Yeah. And so I've seen some videos where people like, they have the harness and they clip into the chain. Yeah. So at least if they fell, they'd be like attached. So like that might be, it's a much slower go because like,
isn't it even?
Well, it's also very difficult. Yes, I know where you're going.
To even get over to where Half Dome is.
There. I think it's like a 7-mile hike that's incredibly strenuous through the waterfalls, and it's really, really tough. And you have to have a permit, which they're not giving many of those out. So
don't most people even spend the night?
I've heard both. No, I think you can do it all at once. You can do it all at once. There's different ways to get there.
Because of that, where you can't just like take a bus and they're going to drop you off at the trailhead, like how you even have to hike to the trailhead. I think like that's why like G just needs to be a stronger, more like a more mature body wise.
Well, the problem is you have to but he'll drink less water. You have to have. I've heard that the training is like you put an enormous backpack on your back filled with stuff, and then you set the incline to like 7. You set the incline to an insane amount, and just do that all year till you go. Yeah. Which I don't do often, so I probably
we have an elliptical in our bedroom, and for 6 months now, I have no idea where the cord to the elliptical is. There's just an elliptical in the bedroom.
We're those people.
I just want the cord. I don't know where it is.
We'll find the cord.
Okay. I love you. Let's wrap it up.
I love you.
Have a really great everything, everyone.
Thank you for watching. If you've gotten this far, like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to be world famous with this podcast. I know it. And look at our work, sethandbeth.com. Our Instagram is Seth and Beth Photo. And follow our podcast. We're going to keep doing these. And we thanks for your support. And to our clients, we love you. See you guys.
Bye, guys. Okay, ready?